Kaurik. Greetings, my dear viewers. Welcome back to Dungeons & Dragons character conversion, part of the Warriors of Ravenloft series. Normally, we take a look at characters from across media to bring them into Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition as playable characters. So far, we have been going over each and every playable character within the Warriors of Ravenloft video game. We have covered the main heroes, and now we are going over the villains, or as their job application states, assassins. And today we are looking at probably the creepiest of the 4 human characters of this arc, and that is Kaurik. He is a nobleman from a less than popular house. After they had been ostracized, the entire family line decided, well, if we can't mix and mingle with the other noble houses, I guess that we are left with no other choice but to keep the bloodline pure. So yeah, every single generation after the ostracization has become inbred. This leaves our main protagonist, Kaurik. Kaurik ended up falling in love with his, I think it was his sister. I hate this backstory, but we have to go with it because this is going to explain why he's even in the domains of dread. Alright, so, like I said, he's in love with his sister. However, his sister is in love with one of the knights. When she proclaims her love to this knight, the knight turns her down. It doesn't explain how the knight turns this sister down. All we know is that she was turned down. I'm going to assume gently, but given what happens next, I don't think that's the case. You see, after she was turned down, Kaurik's sister drowned herself. Enraged and heartbroken, Kaurik then proceeds, alongside some other members of his family, to kill the knights. Not just the one knight. Every single one. One of the last ones he kills, Kaurik is then transported not to Lord Soth's domain, like every other villain seems to have done. No. The Mists take our Warlord, as he is called, to Saranya. You know, Anton Miseroy's domain. The one where there's a graveyard spanning most of the domain on one side of the village, with the jailer's main jailhouse somewhere in the center. The one with crocodiles that Dr. Bowers goes over in one of his videos. Yeah, he goes there. And, starts, how do I put this gently? Playing with corpses. Great. Yeah, he's a necrophile. We'll just go ahead and rip it off, I guess. Anyway, he's a necrophile, and the citizens of Saranya are not pleased by this, especially when he takes the skin from one of the corpses, or multiple corpses, and fashions a mask out of them, a la Leatherface. So the citizens end up chasing him out, back into the mists, and he eventually gets to Lord Soth's domain. Now, with that being said, this would still be an interesting encounter for your players to have in Seranya. You got the main Dark Lord, but then you got this freak show who is messing with the gravesite and disrespecting the dead. Citizens will probably have you chase him out. That could be one of the first adventures your players have in the Mist. That way you get introduced to the assassins. Anywho, let's go ahead and get straight into our dear inbred nobleman, Kaurik. Starting things off with the point buy system, we got a 15 strength, 15 dexterity, constitution and intelligence will be our dump stat at an 8. He is inbred after all, so he's not going to be very intelligent, nor is he going to be safe from a lot of diseases. Next is wisdom at a 10. He's going to be decent, but not stellar. And our second most highest stat is going to be charisma at a 14. The last two humans that we did just did the normal humans point array. But for Kaurik, I wanted to do the human variant. This will give us a +1 to our strength and our dexterity, and give us a free feat. Magic Initiate. We're going to be picking the wizard class. Why are we doing this? Well, Kaurik has two interesting abilities. Number one is his ability to flail around his flail, which ends up becoming a magical weapon of sorts when he goes into this manic fit, I guess. But the damage he deals with his flail is considered magical, so Booming Blade seemed like a good fit. The second one is his actual magical power. And that is he has the ability to force choke people, a la Darth Vader. So I needed some spells to give us that magical-ish effect. And unfortunately, the spell I wanted to grab, Hold Person, is a level 2 spell. I would have to do a lot of finagling in order to get to that point, so we're not going to do it. What we are going to do is get two spells that are a little bit closer. Chill Touch. A ghostly hand goes out to your target, grabs them, deals necrotic damage, and they are not allowed to heal while the hand is attached. Easy way to do a force choke. Next is the first level spell of Magnify Gravity. This actually affects multiple people within a given area, so it's similar. It's kind of a mass force choke, but it also has the effect of slowing the target down, cutting their speed in half, which is pretty cool. Other things that we get from the human race is a size of medium, speed of 30 feet, languages of Common and Elven, and since we took the variant, we also get a skill. Go ahead and go for Acrobatics. Let's go ahead and move on to our background. Of course, we are going with a noble. He's an ostracized noble, but he is of noble descent. Proficiencies are going to be in the skills of History and Persuasion, one gaming set of choice, and we'll go ahead and grab the language of the Goblin, mostly for your allies' benefit. And of course, the feature of Position of Privilege. He's not going to be able to use this feature, but he has it. Alright, let's go ahead and move on to our class. And I think it's going to be pretty obvious. We're going with a Barbarian here. This will give us a D12 hit die, starting hit points of Constitution, minus our Constitution modifier, since we have a negative Constitution at this point in time. So we get to start off with 11 hit points. It's still fine. It would have been worse if we had a different class. Additional hit points are going to be equal to 1d12 plus our Constitution modifier per barbarian level after the first. For our proficiencies, we are now proficient in light armor, medium armor, shields, simple weapons, martial weapons, saving throws in strength and constitution, and for our 2 skills, go with athletics and intimidation. We also get access to rage and unarmored defense. At level 2, we get access to reckless attack and danger sense. Level 3, we get primal knowledge, giving us 1 additional skill. We're going with perception. And for our primal path, I really didn't see many similarities between Kaurik and the different primal paths, other than the path of the Berserker, due to that manic flailing of his flail. So we'll go ahead and just go with it, which will give us access to the ability of Frenzy. Pretty basic stuff, but it's what is available and what makes the most sense for this inbred warlord. Moving on to level 4, we're going to go ahead and get access to another semi-force choke ability, and that is going to be the feat of Telekinetic. This will increase our charisma by 1 point, giving us access to the Mage Hand cantrip, which becomes invisible. If we already knew the spell, its range would be increased by 30 feet, but I decided to forego that. So we're not going to worry about that. It's not like we're going to be force choking someone from a great distance. We need to be within striking distance anyway. But Mage Hand can't exactly attack a person, so it's not entirely useful for attacking. But our second ability is, as a bonus action, you can try to telekinetically shove one creature you can see within 30 feet. They have to make a strength save. If they fail, they are moved 5 feet either toward you or away from you. Most likely they're going to be coming towards you because you want them as close as possible when you swing your flail around. Moving on to level 5, we get access to extra attack and fast movement. At level 6, we get access to Mindless Rage. At level 7, go ahead and grab your Feral Instinct and Instinctive Pounce. At level 8, go ahead and increase your strength by 2 points. At level 9, you get access to your Brutal Critical. Level 10, you get Intimidating Presence and another use of Primal Knowledge. Go ahead and grab your Survival skill. Being out in those swamps, you probably picked up a thing or two about surviving. Moving on to level 11, you get Relentless Rage. At level 12, we are going with an Unearthed Arcana feat, the Flail Mastery. This will give you a +1 bonus to attack rolls you make with a flail. As a bonus action on your turn, you can prepare yourself to extend your flail to sweep over target's shields. Until the end of this turn, your attack rolls with the flail gain a +2 bonus against any target using a shield. Pretty useful. Also, when you hit with an opportunity attack using a flail, the target must succeed a strength saving throw or be knocked prone, which is kind of funny, but could be useful, especially within the domain that our dear friend has been sent to. Imagine knocking somebody prone while they're in the swamp. If the swamp's deep enough, they might start choking a little bit. Who knows? Moving on to level 13, you now have 2 dice for your Brutal Critical. At level 14, you get access to Retaliation. Level 15, Persistent Rage. Level 16, grab the feat of Athlete. This will increase our strength by 1 point. And if we are prone, we can stand up using only 5 feet of our movement. Climbing doesn't cost any extra movement. And it's a whole lot easier to make our running high jump and running long jump. Moving on to level 17, we have 3 dice for our Brutal Critical ability. Level 18, go with Indomitable Might. Level 19, go ahead and increase your strength and charisma each by 1. And finally, at level 20, we get access to Primal Champion, increasing our strength to a 24 and our constitution to a 12. What did you think of our Warlord Kaurik? Let me know in the comment section down below. And if you want to see a particular character in upcoming episodes, let me know in the comment section down below. But until next time, this has been Drahan, and I am offline.